Welcome, Miracles Tribe members and members of our Miracles Attraction community on Facebook and our YouTube subscribers. I'm Teresa McGallicher of the Miracles Tribe, joined with Carly Hardy, my partner, and we have another amazing guest for you today in our continuing series of people whose lives have been positively transformed by their practice of A Course in Miracles. Our guest today is Andrea Harris, coming to us from the UK, and Carly will tell you all about her.
Thank you, Teresa, and a warm welcome, Andrea. I just have to tell you that I fell in love with you over Zoom. We were on a similar course together, or on a course together with Lisa Natoli, and oh, you just captured my heart from the very beginning. So it's such, yes, a delight to have you with us today. And a little bit about Andrea's background. She is an interfaith minister, a spiritual counselor, and a longtime student of A Course in Miracles. She feels like ever since she was a young child, she's been seeking, and that A Course in Miracles was given to her so that she could actually find the deep knowing of unshakable peace. And she's deeply grateful for that. Recently, an experience with cancer took her dabbling with A Course in Miracles to a whole new level of living it every day. So, Andrea, we'll turn the time over to you, and we're just so grateful that you would share your experience with us.
Oh, thank you so much, Carly, and thank you, Teresa, too, for such a warm welcome. And I totally fell in love with both of you too through our training. Thank you. It's a funny old world where we meet people through Zoom and we've never actually met them in person, but we're linked anyway, and we feel this heart connection. So thank you for all that you're doing through the Miracle Tribe and all the amazing outreach of sharing light with so many people. Yeah, so thank you for that intro. And I just wanted to start by saying that we're all seeking love and peace in our own way. And as you said, I was seeking through my childhood, but I didn't really know what I was seeking for. And what A Course in Miracles has given me is this deep experience of knowing myself as eternal, limitless peace that nothing in the world can change. And that no seeking outside of myself can ever touch me in the way that this deep internal peace can. So I see my journey with A Course in Miracles in different stages. I started dabbling about 20 years ago, 25 years ago even, and I then studied it in a very cognitive way. I really wanted to get what it was saying. And then, as you said, through my experience with cancer, which was quite recent, it was in 2019, it really propelled me to live its wisdom more profoundly, to really integrate the teachings into my life. So I'll just chat through some of those stages. You asked how my life was before the course. So in my early years, I thought my goal was to seek love outside of myself. A lot of people pleasing. It seemed that if I was popular, or if I had lots of friends, or if I was witty or intelligent, or if I did a great job, if I made something of myself, then I'd be worthy, and then I'd feel safe, and then I'd feel at peace. And I probably had similar challenges to the challenges that most people have, growing up in school, university days, and family dynamics. Pretty similar challenges. My first introduction to the idea that peace is internal was before my days with the Course in Miracles. It was through Vipassana. So I lived in Australia for a while. And for a while I did back-to-back Vipassana retreats. But Vipassana is a Buddhist technique. And the practice was to watch thoughts arising and passing away without reacting to them. And I remember the teacher there at one of the Vipassana retreats saying that if we're sitting in a chariot being led by a horse, we wouldn't just blindly follow wherever the horse was leading. And we'd steer the horse back on track. And he likened our thoughts to horses, that we don't have to follow every single thought that our mind conjures up. So I started playing with those ideas. It's the first time I'd ever kind of even thought about my thoughts as something that I don't have to follow. And I came back to the UK. And then I first encountered the Course in Miracles through a community that I was involved in London. I was given a copy, actually. And it was an organisation that I ended up volunteering in. And we hosted like really inspirational speakers like Eckhart Tolle and Neil Donald Walsh. And I just noticed that all the speakers who inspired me were people that were drawing on wisdom from the Course. And so I had the book. It had been sitting on my bookshelf for a while, and I started dabbling. It's what I call my dabbling phase. I read a little bit. I didn't really apply the teachings, but I was curious, and I certainly listened to a lot of speakers talking about Course in Miracles. And around that time, so I hadn't been back in the UK for very long, I became ill. I had ulcerative colitis. I was in quite a lot of pain. And as I say, I haven't really integrated all the teachings of the Course, and I started fixing it from the ego perspective, like there's something wrong with my body, I need to sort it out, something outside of me that's disturbing my peace. And so I launched into, it's what my friend calls ego DIY. I did it by myself. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to do umpteen different therapies and dietary stuff and supplements. I was on medication, which I was told I would be on for the rest of my life. I tried everything, nothing worked. And eventually I saw a healer. I still had the Course teachings, still wasn't really applying them. So I'm lying on this healer's couch, and from this striving and efforting, something in me just totally let go. And I just remember just lying on this healer's couch in a complete surrender. I wouldn't have said it was surrender then. I would have said it was letting go. So the Course talks about the two thought systems, the ego's thought system or the Holy Spirit's thought system. I would say that I let go of the ego's thought system. I didn't know that at the time. I didn't even know what I was letting go of. I would say I more gave up than surrendered. I gave up. I was just like, this isn't working. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. I don't even care if I live or die. It's like complete, like, show me what to do. Don't even know who I was asking. Show me what to do. Just pure letting go. And in that letting go, I entered into a really deep, profound space of peace, just pure light, pure peace. And I had no idea what that was. I just lay there for a while. Eventually the healer tugged my feet and said, Andrea, you need to come back into the room. She said, do you know what happened? And I was like, don't know. I just experienced this peace or light. And she said, yeah, it's loads of light. I thought I was blasted by light. Now I just think, no, I just let go of whatever was clouding the light that's always there. And she felt my tummy and the area she was treating. She was like, it's gone, it's never coming back. And it never did come back. So I didn't really understand what had happened on a cognitive level, but I did know from then on that there was a lot more to the body than I'd previously understood, and that some deep healing had taken place when I'd let go of this ego's grip of fear, of holding, of I've got to heal this in the way that I think it needs to happen. And then after that, I started a much deeper immersion into the Course's teachings, and I suppose I entered what I term as my studying phase of the Course. I found the language very difficult to even understand what it was saying. I found the Christian language very difficult. I'm from a Jewish background. I kept it hidden. I didn't tell anybody that I was studying it, apart from people that I knew that were on that path. I didn't want anyone to think that I'd jumped to a new religion because it was very Christian terminology. I translated it all in my mind. I never used the word Jesus or Holy Spirit. To me, I just translated them all in my mind. It was like source or love or light. But I started to use some of the teachings. I wouldn't say daily, but it was a real comfort to me. My mum died about 10 years ago. It was a huge comfort to me to know that she's not her body, she's suffering, that it's her body suffering, and that's not the truth of who she is. I love all the relationship material. I love the relationship material. Wouldn't say I necessarily lived it. Yeah, just things like to know that what we're projecting on another person, we're affirming to ourselves. And as I attack another person, I'm attacking myself. As I see a love in another person, I'm seeing love in myself. I started using all these teachings and applying them to situations. If I noticed that I was feeling conflict, I'd start, reflecting that if I'm not at peace, I'm not seeing this situation truly as it is, and I'm seeing it through this cloud, this filter of my own past experience. And so I suppose what I really did was become a very sincere student. I went to a study group where we studied, and I asked a million questions, like just trying to understand it all from my mind. And then I set up my own study group, and we studied together. Yeah, I wanted to know what every sentence meant. It makes me laugh now because running my study groups, running these for facilitating study groups now, we kind of read together, and then we discuss after a big chunk. But then like every single paragraph, we were like analysing, like, what does this sentence mean, and what does that sentence mean? I still didn't allow the course to have too much effect on my life. This went on, I'd say, for about 10 years. Like 10 years, I ran study groups in my home where we analysed the text. I would say I had a fairly messed up relationship, and I would still get really upset about things and not embrace the course's wisdom that I'm never upset for the reason I think. And I was really quite scared. I used to lie. I used to analyze the body, very body identified. I used to lie in bed. I can really remember doing this, lying in bed and analyzing pains and twinges and being really scared and going, oh my God, is that cancer? Anyway, so it all came to a head when in 2019, I got diagnosed with cancer. And I'd say that was a real turning point. We never think that this is going to be the biggest gift of my life, having cancer, but actually it turned out to be, because I started to really apply the teachings every day. And, by now I'd had a good 20 plus years of courses teachings behind me, but it still wasn't terribly integrated. And I remember my husband saying to me, well, now it's a chance to really put into practice all these things that you've been believing and talking about for all these years. I would say I was very incredibly blessed to have incredible teachers who held my hand through it. Lisa Natoli is where we met one another, and other teachers. I did a lot of journey work with Brandon Bays, and just lots of different Course in Miracles teachers and teachings that I started to explore. And specifically, the sections in the Course on Sickness are extraordinary. So lesson 135 through to 140, sickness is a defense against the truth. What's the truth that I'm defending against? The truth is that I'm an eternal, loving, innocent, limitless whole being. And was I living that? No, I wasn't living that, because I really didn't. I didn't know it somehow. I was cluttered with all these thoughts of who I was, and studying the course in a really studious way that had nothing to do with my life. I somehow really got it, and I think that the sun's a really good analogy. It's like the sun is always shining, but we can't see it when the clouds are blocking it. And I suppose I really got that the clouds that are blocking the light of who I am are our judgments and our grievances. And so in a way it became my job not to let those judgments and opinions keep rolling. And so I started really watching where I was judging and my opinions, and just that deep surrender of help me to see this truly through loving eyes, instead of ones that are clouded with my past judgments, so that this radiance could shine, so that so that the natural essence of who I am can come forth. And then other teachers, like I don't know Anita Mojani, she's not a course teacher or student, but she really integrates the same wisdom, and she would say things like, what would you be doing if you weren't Googling your symptoms? And what's your purpose in the world? And the course tells us what our purpose is to know the truth of who we are and to extend happiness into the world. And so I started like really doing that instead of reading about it. The course says that sickness is a hiding. What's it hiding? It's hiding the light of who I am. And I was hiding, you know, as I said, look, the course was a secret thing for me. I was really scared that people would judge me and say, oh, she's into all this Christian stuff and not understand it. To me, it was terminology and I translated it. But, you know, I didn't want people to judge me. I felt, there were lots of things that I did. So you said that I was an ordained interfaith minister. I'd been ordained since, I can't remember when I was ordained, I think in 2000. I'd done a ton of ceremonies. I never told anybody that I did ceremonies. So suddenly I'd be in a conversation with somebody and they'd say, oh, Andrea, thank you for that amazing ceremony. And somebody would be standing next to me and say, I didn't know you did that. It was like everything was secret and hidden in me. And another thing that happened was, although I held Course in Miracles groups in my home, I think I just really didn't get the course's teachings, because it's actually saying, let no dark cornerstone of the mind be unturned, like bring it all to the light, all the guilt, all the shame, all the doubt, all the fear, let it all be unearthed. I've heard David Hoffmeister saying that, you know, if you sprinkle sweet icing on a cake of mud, it's not very long till you're eating mud, and all of that mud has to come up in order to be healed. But I didn't get that, because I was studying the course, and the course was telling me that the light is the truth of who I am. I didn't feel that that's who I was, but I suppose ultimately I was too ashamed to say, actually, I'm not really feeling this. So it just stayed hidden and suppressed. I didn't really talk about all the yucky stuff. But I read the course, you know, and I knew what I was supposed to be doing. It's just I wasn't doing it. And sickness, cancer, really forced me to start looking at what I was believing and where I was identifying. Like I was really identified as a body, and I started to see that the body's neutral. You know, a bit like a car. A car can't move unless I'm driving the car, and so if the car crashes into a wall, I'm not going to berate the car and say, car, why did you drive into the wall? Because I'm driving the car. And I really understood that my body can't get cancer, my body can't get sick unless I tell it to. Not that I was consciously telling it to, but that I needed to stop seeing myself as a victim of cancer and understand that the cancer wasn't a cause in itself. I wasn't subject to this awful thing and a victim of this terrible thing that had happened to me. Rather to know that it was just mirroring the thoughts that I was thinking, and that as I surrender these and deeply delve into knowing the truth of who I am, the body would in time mirror that, and to trust that. But I didn't always trust that. Sometimes I would have a huge amount of fear. As I said, I was very fortunate to have lots of lovely Course in Miracles teachers around me that would continually remind me of the truth. And I can hear Lisa's words actually saying, your holiness blesses your fears. She would tell me over and over again, your holiness blesses your fears, because the truth is our holiness is always in us. It's the sun that's always shining, regardless of the clouds that are in the way of seeing it, of seeing that light. And that true identification can allow the body to be a healthy vessel as a communication device for love. And yeah, I started really putting myself out in the world as a communication device for love. Whilst I was treating cancer, whilst I was healing from cancer, I started really putting myself out and running more groups and running courses, and just putting that light out into the world and focusing on the light in others. There's two questions that a lot of people ask me. So one of them is about fear of was I afraid? I would actually force my mind not to entertain the fears. Once I'd centered back in truth, once I'd had the reminder of people saying you're not your body, don't let those fears roll, and instead to drop into the deep peace that sustains me. I am sustained by the love of God, by truth, by wholeness. I would really force my mind to not go down that track, and to let my fears be blessed by my holiness. And the other question a lot of people ask me is, what did my consultant say? So my consultant, of course, thought I was batty. I didn't tell him the full remit of everything that I did. And I did accept surgery initially, but the tumours grew back again immediately. And he immediately wanted to do more surgery, but I was like, well, there's no point, because we're not getting to the cause of it. And I also had some immunotherapy, which wasn't fun. It was painful. And just not very pleasant at all. And he said to me, this isn't going to treat the tumours. You're still going to have the tumours removed. But it would help it was bladder cancer, it would help the bladder lining. By the end of it, I was done. The tumours had grown back, and there was still inflammation in the lining, which my consultant thought was likely to be cancer. So I also read David Hawkins' book, Healing and Recovery, because he speaks really eloquently about not being ruled by the laws of this world. Now, the laws of this world say that X leads to Y, and that if I have cancer and if I don't accept treatment, it's going to spread. And I'd almost chant to myself as a mantra, the laws of the world don't apply to me, and I'm under no laws but God's. And, I'd sink into the peace beyond the fears. So to cut a long story short, I did all this inner work, and the tumours completely disappeared, and the bladder lining healed up without treatment. And just to say, I'm not in any way advising people not to have treatment. In fact, the course says that whatever we do in this world is neutral, and it doesn't matter if we have treatment or not. It's the internal work that matters. For me, I felt very strongly guided that this was the right path for me, and I feel really grateful that cancer, for me, brought me to a deeper living and integration of these teachings in my life. So the course is definitely not the only path. There are very, very many paths to knowing this oneness, to knowing the deep love that's independent of everything in this world. For me, I just feel so fortunate to know that there's always a different way that I can see what's right in front of me, and that the deep peace is always here. And the course is a huge part of my life now, and I'm pleased to say that I'm no longer really scared of how people see me. I'm out there in the world. I offer counselling and various groups and courses. So thank you so much for hosting me, and just really honouring again everything that you're offering and the amazing work that you're doing. Thank you so much, Teresa and Carly.
Thank you, Andrea. We found your story so inspirational, and I know that it's going to help so many people in our community. And you have an offering coming up shortly, a course that you would like to tell people about, and we'd love for you to share it here with our community.
Oh yeah, thank you. So I'm offering a course. I'm about to run an 8-week online course. It's a Zoom course, so you can join from wherever you are. It is UK time zone, so I know probably a lot of your audience is in America, so I'm not sure it will work out. It's on Tuesdays, 10:45 a.m. UK time. It's really an introduction to A Course in Miracles and a deepening of practice. So it's suitable for beginners and for long-term students. But if you would like any more information about that, I'm really happy to share with you.
And how can people find you if they want to sign up?
Probably email's the best. Is it okay to give my email address?
Yes, certainly.
So it's Andrea Harris UK at AOL.com. Andrea Harris UK at AOL.com.
Great, wonderful.
Or I'm on Facebook.
All righty. Thank you for being our guest today, and we wish you continued health and happiness.
Oh, thank you so much. To you too.